Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today is going to be part 2 of our C++ course. Yeah, essentially we're just going to go into the structure of a C++ program. I know I said I would make videos I would try to make a video every day to finish the course by today. That, that ended up not happening. Lots of stuff, lots of busy, lots of.
What?
No, but I think I'll try to get the whole series out to you by the end of this week. Like Sunday night, you should have all the videos up. A lot of the things that you're going to learn today are transferable to other languages, okay? We have comments. Inside of any program, any language, you can write comments in your code. Now, what comments are meant for documentation, or to put in a few notes to be more descriptive for your code. Anything that you have that's commented out is not read by the compiler. This is ignored, right? So the sole purpose of this is to just clean up your code, make it a little clearer. If someone else is looking inside of your code base and you have like a whole bunch of code but you have no comments in it, it might be harder for them to understand what's going on. You also have comments for documentation. Usually people use multi-line comments for these. You can have your documentation using your multi-line comment, giving a brief overview of the program, the use cases, and whatever stuff that you want to put in there. You don't have to go into too much detail in the documentation comment because that is essentially what you can have. You have a readme for a reason. So you can use your readme and you can have some extra bit of documentation in your multi-line comment, possibly at the top of the program. Then you have single line comments. Now, single line comments are great for putting a little description for like maybe a function that you've declared or like a variable, what this is going to be used for. The more comments you put in the code, the more people will be able to understand what your code is doing. However, I do have a note. A lot of comments may end up looking messy. Reason being, right, it is actually good practice to write very descriptive function names, variable names in your code. When you name a variable, you want it to be descriptive, right? If you have something like, you take a function that's called sum of 2. Sum of 2 can take in two numbers and then return the sum of the two numbers. It's very simple like that. But essentially, you want all of these function names and your variable names to be descriptive and readable so that your teammates or whoever is looking in your code can understand what that's doing, right? If you have to write a comment for every single thing that you're doing in your code, people might see that and think like, hey, this person isn't writing anything descriptive. Like their variable names are not descriptive, so they have to clutter their entire source code with all of these comments, right? So yes, comments are great. Comments are great for being descriptive in your code, but too many comments can actually end up doing more harm than good, right? We want our code to be readable. We want our variable names to be descriptive. All right, so these are comments. After comments, we have headers and system resources for input and output, right? Anytime you're working with a program, or like let's say we're going to be building our C++ programs, we're going to want to give our machine some sort of input, right? And then we will do something with that input and then produce an output. In fact, how about I share my screen so that I can show you exactly what I mean. So if you remember, the first thing I did was include our input-output stream. So right, this part of the program, this is a header that you can use to bring in packages, libraries with like a set of classes and functions that you'll be able to use, right? This is what a header is. This specific header that is including our input-output stream, a stream-based library that allows users to interact with your program. Main, here is our function declaration. This is another part of the program. Every C++ program needs to have its main method. This is what the compiler looks for to run. This is the starting point, and then everything can trickle out from there. But this is the starting point of your program. But yeah, back to this input-output stream. This is where we get stuff like, right? this cout, because this is the stream library. From the stream library, we're using this cout, which is allowing us to output something. Last time we did hello world. This time we could just do hey friend. All right, so now let's compile our main, and then let's run the executable, and it says hey friend. Nice. And from this library we can also get input, right? So let's say if I want to create a variable. We've spoken about variables briefly, I believe, but essentially you have to say what the name of the variable is, or okay, wait. Right, we're gonna use string. So this, from the stream we also get this string, right? And we're gonna call it name, right? So this is a variable called name of a class string, and we've just initialized it. So now for this, instead of hey friend, let's just ask the question, can you tell me your name? Right? And this is gonna be just a question. Cout is what we're gonna use to say like, can you tell me the name? And then we can do cin, which will say, okay, whatever the person has just put in, that's gonna be what we assign our name as, okay? Right, so we've done three things. One, we've declared a variable called name that is of type string, and then we print it to the screen, can you tell me your name, question mark. We have a space here so that we give the person some room to actually type. They type in, they press enter. Whatever the person types in is read here and stored here by the stream cin function or method. And we're gonna use whatever that person has put in and assign that to the name. Now name, the variable name will be assigned the value of whatever the user has just put in. And at the very end, we can end it by just saying, hello, name. It's nice to meet you. Okay? Hello, name. It's nice to meet you. And let's end the line, close this out, and now let's try this again. Let's compile it, and let's run it. And my name is Alex. Hello, Alex. It's nice to meet you. Look at that. So that is essentially why we use these headers. Now, like we'll actually be getting more into this later in our program. In this series, we'll get more into that. But this is essentially what you can do for this. And another thing that we have access to is called a namespace. Right? We can declare a namespace in our program, which will allow us to have access to the methods that belong to a specific library, instead of having to call to specify the library and then use the method of that library, right? This is normally done before your main method. We just say using namespace, right? And then we give it the name of the namespace. Now this is that stream namespace that we're using. That means with all of these, we don't need it anymore. And it'll understand what this is. So look, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna comment this out. Here we go with the comments. These comments are not read by the compiler. And our program already knows I don't even have to run this. Identifier string is undefined. It doesn't know what string is because string comes from that library. Cout comes from that library, right? So that's why we had to have this, because this will allow us to use a method from that library. And now string is actually readable, but cout and cin are not. So in order to actually use this without having to continuously keep typing std : cout, now we can just use cout. and I'm going to show you here, just recompiling it, and then I'm also going to change this. So now you can actually see the difference here. There we go. I'm going to compile it. And then let's run it. Boom. Hello, Alex. Nice to meet you. Cool. Now we know how to use a namespace. It just makes it easier for us to access functions inside of specific libraries. We just use the namespace, and now our function, our main method, has access to the methods from that library. Now let's take a deeper dive into this main function here, right? The main function is crucial for the C++ program. This is the thing that our compiler looks for to start actually compiling a program. That's going to be the starting point of your application. And what this is composed of, right? We see first we have the int main. In terms of functions, right? I believe we spoke about it earlier, but we have functions. We have to declare the type that we're expecting to return, then the name of the function, our clamshells. If a function takes in something, then we put that in here. And then we have opening and closing curly braces, right? Inside of the main method, we have some sort of logic. We have like declaring variables. We have some statements. And then we have our return statement, right? Yeah, that is essentially, that's it from the core structure of a C++ program. But I'm not going to leave you with just that. I'm also going to show you operators, arithmetic operators, right? We have programs, sometimes we have to do calculations. And the good thing about programming is that we have these operators that we can use with numbers to perform these calculations. All right, so, right, we have int a equals 5, int b equals 20, and now we have int sum equals a plus b, right? And we can also have subtraction, which is using minus. So we could do, okay, then we can have int difference equals a minus b. We can have int product equals a times b. And we can have, there's division, quotient equals a divided by b. And then another thing that we have is the modulo, or modulus, spelt this way. This is using the percent sign. What this will give you is the remainder of like a divided by b, right? So like, let's say if this was, right, if this is 3, this is 15. If this is 3, this is 15, and we do int remainder equals a modulo b, and now what this is going to give us is this is going to give us 0. This kind of stuff is very useful when you're solving problems, trying to figure out, like, you know, essentially if you want to know if something is divisible by another number, you can do the modulo. If you do, like, you know, 20 modulo 2, or like, yeah, 20 modulo 2, you will be, and if the result is 0, then you know that 20 is divisible by 2 evenly. Yeah, so then if you have problems like that, like the famous problem FizzBuzz, then you'll be able to use this particular arithmetic operator to solve your problems. Other things that we also have is like incrementing, right? Because like, let's say you have something like a, but you want to increment it by 1. So then we could do a equals a plus 1. but there's a shorthand for this, which is just a++, which will increment a by 1. And the same goes for subtracting by 1, decrementing, which is like if we wanted to do b equals b minus 1, then we can just do b minus minus, and that will decrement b by 1. Okay? Cool, 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 cool. Those are the arithmetic operators here in C++. I just want to print this and see what happens. What do we get? Plus compiled. There we go. Let's print it. B is 1. What was B? B started off as 3. Then over here we set B to B minus 1, which is 2, and then we set B to B minus 1 using the decrement, and now B was 1. B, 1. So that was that. I think we covered quite a bit. We covered the structure of a C++ program. We also covered printing and taking in user input with cin, and cin to take in user input, cout to print user input, to print whatever output that you want to print. And we've also covered declaring variables. But the README that I have on my GitHub repo has this all formatted very nicely. It's good for you to just, if you read through that, that's another thing to kind of reinforce whatever you've learned in this video today. That's why I'm doing the videos and the READMEs, because some people learn better when they see it in a video. Some people learn better just by reading it. So now we have 2 resources, and some people learn better by like doing both. Watching a video and then being able to just like read something for themselves. Yeah, but that's about it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will see you next time. I'm just gonna do a cheeky little high five. That's it. That's it. That's a high five instead. So now I'm not punching you in the face, I'm high-fiving you. High five, and I will see you next time. Now gonna march to certain death with these landmines in our